Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Kissy. So today I wanted to come out here and do a quick reading for the collective. Well, I say quick reading, but you never know. So as I was meditating, I did come up with a few concepts that came through. So I want to go through them and share them with you. So regarding change, change is about a desire to express oneself differently in a new way. I really sat with these, okay, in terms of like getting to the source of the matter of change. Like, what is it? Why do we feel compelled to change? What makes us change, right? Why would we change? And this is what the only thing in my personal life that I can say, change was about a desire to express myself differently in a new way. In other words, whatever is now, there was some discontentment. Whatever is now, there is some imbalance, or there is some discomfort, or there's something is not at ease or flow, so you know that something has to change. So how do you choose to change, or why you choose to change? Well, that depends on the people that are involved and the place it occurs. The reason will vary by individual. So in this matter, like how we choose to change is entirely up to us. And some would say, no, it's not, because I didn't want to change. They made me change. Well, yeah, they can't really make you change. Eventually, you relinquish your power and change. If you feel that you didn't want to change and you changed, that's a relinquishment of your power, and you were changed in a way that was new to you, but not in a way that was beneficial to you, in a way that, like, so you go through a breakup and you want to say, oh, I'm a depressed person because they changed me. That person changed me. Or I have a habit and it's because they did that. Or whatever. You could blame others of why you changed for the worse. But at the end of the day, you allowed it to happen. So how you choose to change or why you choose to change depends on the people that are involved and the place that it occurs. Why the place that it occurs? Because some places really put us up against a wall in terms of how we can express ourselves. It doesn't matter. It could be a person based on their upbringing has a hard time expressing themselves in the home. So it doesn't take much for that person to feel like they're being cornered to the point that putting that in a similar situation as an adult, they either mastered it and learned through the difficulties of being cornered and constantly uncomfortable and constantly in that position of, I need to not feel uncomfortable here, and can actually do that. But now to the extreme, will be put in a similar situation where it might have just happened one time versus a history of it happening as a constant as a child, but it happened just one time. The fact that to react as if it was what was happening as a child, of the occurrence happening so often, where he's like, I've had enough, and you blow up. That kind of blow up means that was either unconscious or that was something that wasn't being worked on, and it might have been hidden, repressed for forever, and then all of a sudden it just takes one little drop, and you create a change in the environment based on the place that it's happening. In other words, because the place triggers a past trauma, or if the place, when I say the place it occurs, it depends on the place that it occurs. For example, at a job, you would be more inclined to be polite. You would be more inclined to be more respectful. You would be inclined to be more submissive. If it interests you to remain there, if it interests you to get your paycheck, if it interests you to keep your job, right? So because you're more inclined to be on the positive, that's maybe not everybody, okay? Because some people might be really comfortable being really problematic in the workplace, but I don't see how. Anyway, let's not go there. So if, let's say in the workplace, you would be very inclined to be more positive when something negative occurs in the workplace that's affecting you and calling you to change, calling you to express yourself differently in a new way, that doesn't feel uncomfortable to you, that makes the discomfort go away. So if it happens at the workplace and all of a sudden now you're put in a situation where you may be inclined not to speak up, to hold it and hold it and hold it until one day, the straw that breaks the camel's back, and you say, fuck it, I quit. Or you go off on a boss or a coworker, or on a customer or whatever. They're going to say, oh, you're so overreactive. But you never expressed the need for change. You never expressed the need for whatever was a discomfort. And maybe you did. And maybe if you did, you got, it's like I said, it's depending on the place, because remember, change is about a desire. The desire to express oneself differently in a new way. So if you feel restricted to express yourself differently, in other words, you were pegged in a box, in a square, whatever, I don't know. Listen, you were put in this little category here because this is how you express yourself in this area of life. This is how you express yourself in this area of life. And so, depending on where, you're only limited to a certain level of expression. So if how you express yourself at home is very open, is very full, in other words, it's a wide range of emotions. In other words, you can go from your most positive expression to your most negative expression, but there's a freedom of expression within the home for yourself. And then you put yourself in a situation, whether it's a relationship, a person, well, like I said, a relationship is a person, right? But in your relationship to the work that you do, in relationship to the places you engage in, there are boundaries of how you express yourself in certain places. So if you like you like to smoke and you like to drink, for example, you can't do that at a library. For example, I'll give a perfect story about that. I lived in California and I had just moved there. I was with some companions from work, and we decided to go out for a night to get around town, learn the area, whatever. So I think they call it in San Diego, I guess is it the Gaslight District or so? If it's Gaslight District, that shit is funny to me now. But anyways, anywho, so we go to this club. One of the people that I was there with was from Miami, like myself. So we had that in common, and we go into the club and everybody's dancing, everybody's having a good time, and he smokes like regular cigarettes. And I'm trying to be all bougie or whatever, like, just for the hell of it. I'm at the club. I'm just, like, letting loose, having a good time. And he offers me a cigarette. And I'm like, sure, why not? This was very common in Miami for me to see. If when you would go out, people would smoke in the clubs. If anything, that's the only place that you could have done it. Like, restaurants, you wouldn't really see people smoking indoors in a restaurant. So... in other words, the culture or the way that I was conditioned, right, the environment that I was in, smoking in a club was completely normal and very acceptable and very fine by me, right? Anyway, so now we're in California, and he and I, these two Miami folks, we're like dancing, and the music is loud, and, the strobe lights, whatever, and, just smoking a little cigarette, laughing and giggling, when all of a sudden we're surrounded by a bunch of security guards. Like, literally, they look like FBI agents, right? They're all there. And we're like, and I'm literally like, they're like talking to him, and then I kind of like lean forward to like get in on the conversation, literally taking the cigarette out of my mouth, blowing it right in, in the area where all these men were there. I'm like, I'm sorry, excuse me, what's going on here? What's the problem, sir? Well, ma'am, you're not supposed to smoke in here. I'm like, what? What do you mean? It's a club. Yeah, it's not allowed here. It's illegal. It's like, get the fuck out of here. We didn't have a clue. So, obviously, we put the cigarette down. I'm not even a smoker, so it didn't matter to me. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm not going to cause a problem there. But the perspective change was kind of like it was a bit dramatic in the sense that it was almost shocking to me. I was like, holy shit, I didn't expect that. Never even considered I'm in a different state. The laws might be different here. I should maybe know that before. And our other friends that were there that may have known, the situation occurred so quickly. It was just a matter of taking out, the cigarettes. Oh, here. And within like 2 seconds of lighting up the cigarettes, bombarded by security guards. And it's like the look of shock it's like if all the music turned off, all the lights just went off, and everybody's just stopped to look at what this crime was that we had committed. And why are the security guards on top of these two people? Like, what crime did they commit? So that was, a little bit of a shocker. So I was like, okay, no big deal. Music came back on. Everybody started dancing. Everything was great. So the whole point is that the place matters in terms of, because if I was a defensive person and I didn't know my place, I didn't know where I was, and I'd start talking like I know my rights because of my experience in Florida, then I would look like a complete fool, and I would be forced to change whether I wanted to or not. It's like, get the hell out of the club, whether you like it or not, get kicked out, get thrown out, get the cops called on you for being belligerent or being difficult, or you accept the change and you recognize it for what it is, and it's like, oh, okay, I can't do that here. In this place, I can't do that. So anywho, and that goes into forced change is due to lack of awareness that change was required or imminently necessary. Simple as that. Forced change to me is also kind of like being in a partnership with someone and the person never telling you that there's something they don't like about the relationship. They never say it. Every day you drink your coffee the same way, or every day you clean the house the same way, whatever you do, and the person never mentioned, years into the relationship, they'll out of nowhere say, I really don't like how you drink your coffee, and because of that, this relationship isn't working. That would be like a drastic change, like what the fuck, But again, due to lack of awareness, did the person even want the change to be, did the person have a desire to express themselves differently in a new way? In other words, was this a matter of, I want to express myself in a new way so that I can be comfortable in my environment? Or am I making this the excuse to create a change so that I don't have to be in a place where I feel I can't change? That's a personal problem. So I feel like if somebody tells you, I can't be with you because of this, without even giving you an opportunity for change, they're not looking for you to change. The issue isn't you. The issue is that they cannot express themselves differently around you for whatever their reasons. And we'll get into that in a second. But whatever their reasons, they can't do that around you. And now they want to make the excuse that whatever it is, the problem that they see in you, is the reason why they need to change. They're not asking for the dynamic to change. They're not asking for the situation with you to change. They want to change the person they're interacting with, the circumstances they're in with that person, because whatever desire to express oneself differently in a new way is required, is being called upon within that person. Some reason, somehow, they don't feel that they can choose that change, or that the place in which it is occurring is a viable space for them to change. So then it creates a forced change. It becomes something where it becomes a problem. Like, oh, all these years we were okay, and now all of a sudden you're going to force a change. Make it make sense, right? Well, the lack of awareness on that person's part, not to have brought it up at the first sight, or not to have, or to not get to the root of the cause of why does that really trigger me? Because it's never about the person, it's about oneself, and then the inability to, please don't drink your coffee that way. It makes you look whatever. Obviously that's not a reason justifiable, but just to keep it simple, you can, the discomfort of that dialogue is avoided, and so suppressing the need for that change, they blame on the person that they can't be fully themselves in, and because they can't fully be themselves in that space, then they want to create a forced change. Anyway, and when I say imminently necessary, like sometimes you have to stand up for yourself, no matter what, no matter who's there, no matter what the place, but if you're going to do that, be within your rights, be within your, it's like something I remind my children of a lot is, you can, okay, how I say it to them, how did I just lose that all in, like, oh, back to where we were, imminent change. I seriously, it all just went, it's like Spirit said, no, we're going to run away with that one. Okay. No, but wait, I want to, I want to know what the hell I was going to say. Hold on. Forced change is due to lack of awareness. That change was required or imminently necessary. Yes. You need to know what the rules are. This is what I tell my kids. If you're going to break the rules, you need to at least know the rules. Like, for example, in school, can you skip and get away with it? Well, yeah. But before you try that, you should at least, if you're going to skip the class that's least problematic. Not the one you're having the hardest time in, that one more thing is going to get that phone call. If it's like, it's not teaching how to do bad or get away with doing bad. It's, if you're trying to rebel, or if you're trying to, because that's what change is. It's like a rebellion to some degree, whether it's internally, or it's, change does not bode well with others very often because it affects them. Most people are comfortable where they are, so when you want to change, it affects how they feel, and people would put a stop to your change if it means that they get to stay comfortable. And that, depending on the degree, can go far or, can cause enemies. So anyway, or can have dire consequences, obviously, because if you try to break rules that you are not aware what the consequences of breaking those rules are, then you end up in a pickle, right? So it's not go do dirt and go get away with it. It's be aware of your environment. Be aware of the absolute, like, be aware of the absolutes. Like, okay, I don't know. Let's just move forward. Move forward. Desire for change and self-expression can come from creative. It's a desire for change and self-expression is really looking or seeking for a creative outlet. It's due to boredom. So this is not the only reason. These are reasons why we would desire change. We desire change because we need a new creative outlet. We're bored. There's external influences that makes us want to change. We're like, I don't want to be in this fucking place. I don't want to be with these damn people. I don't want to do this damn thing. I'm done, being this here. So it's like, time to move on, move forward, go into another direction. Desire for change due to your self-expression. It's also due to pain. Sometimes pain will make you feel like it's a forced change, but if you're aware of the pain that's quote unquote accumulating. Let's say you're in a situation and you day one, week one, whatever, early on, something occurs, they're like, damn, I really don't like this. And you try to fix it, or you try to look at it differently, or you try to change it, and then it occurs again, and you're like, damn, I really can't stand this shit. And then it happens again and again. And little by little, it's like, how far do you allow yourself to feel the pain of a problem or of a lack of desire for something or someone or something to create pain? Because that pain eventually manifests as some kind of physical disability. Whether you end up sick with the flu, whether you end up with a terrible headache, whether you end up with a sprained ankle, whether you end up with a fucking tumor, whatever it is. It's from different sources, but it's the same pain. So we desire change in our self-expression when we've created enough pain. Most people, unfortunately, have to get to the place of being forced to change, and the way that they're forced to change sometimes comes through and by way of pain. And that pain could be an illness that forces them to change. A bad habit that led them into a really bad situation, or a behavior that put them in a situation that now their freedom is limited, and like a necessity. Sometimes you change because it's like, if I don't do this, this is going to be destroyed, whatever it is. Like, if you don't stop doing this, you're gonna, unfortunately, people say it, and you'll see it play out in movies, and you'll see, play out in real life, obviously, where people are like, man, I gotta change. If I don't stop doing this shit, I'm gonna get fucked up. If I don't stop doing this, I'm gonna end up in jail. If I don't stop doing this, I'm gonna end up, whatever it is. You'll have where people know what they're doing, they're conscious of what they're doing, and they really want to change, but they don't do it until they're forced. Because the pain of taking accountability, the pain of having the will power to stop the spiral of the bad habit isn't stronger than the bad habit, or isn't stronger than the momentum that has been accumulating to force changes. Lordy, Lord. So, to transform a negative into a positive, one must know what is the wrong. In other words, you must know what is the issue, what's wrong. When you ask somebody, how many times have you asked somebody, what's wrong? What's the matter? Why are you upset? What's the problem? You know how many people actually say, I don't know? You know how many people actually say, what are you talking about? You know how many people actually say, nothing's wrong, and then go on to get really erratically angry and upset? And you're just like, if that's not an indicator that something was wrong, because nobody just acts that way when nothing is wrong. So if asking the question made you that angry, bitch, something was wrong. Excuse my language. Sometimes you have to tell people, talk to people in a certain way to like slap them out of a dull tune out, or you know what I mean? Like some people are like tuned out. Some people tune out anything from the outside on automatic because they assume that it's automatically going to be that, I know what you're going to say. I know, you know what I mean? It's like that I know attitude. You know everything. The belligerent person, I know, like that thinks they know you. The belligerent person that assumes that they understand the law, that they understand the rule, or that they understand exactly what the consequences are, and they don't even want to hear the authority. Like, this is a person that won't want to listen to the fucking judge when the judge is trying to tell them what the consequence is about to be for their stupidity. Or they don't want to listen to the parent when their parent is letting them know, if you keep acting stupid, you're about to get grounded, and it ain't cute. And they want to keep with the stupid attitude, and then when shit goes to hell, that you take everything away, or everything gets removed, or their freedoms are limited. Now they want to cry and act like they weren't given opportunity to change. They're going to claim that it's a forced change and that their rights and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, get the hell out of here, man. Don't pretend. You can pretend ignorance until presented with the facts. You can act like you don't know better. But if somebody showed you and said, this is what you're doing, and this is why it's wrong, or this is what you're doing, and this is where it's leading, and this isn't a benefit to you, because you know that if this happens to you, you're going to be crying about it, you're going to be afraid about it, you're going to be in hell about it, you're going to be in a problem that you don't know how to get yourself out of, or that it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to get out of, or it's going to cost you a lot of time and energy to figure out how to get out of that, or it could cost you your life at the worst, right? And so we could practicalize it and see it step by step and tell the person, this is where it's at. This is the trajectory of what you're doing. And they'll agree, and they'll see it for what it is, and they'll understand you and nod their head and say, yes, I know. And literally, as soon as you're done with them, they go and do exactly what they were going to do anyway. Exactly what they were going to do anyway. Because it's a freaking habit. And it's a choice to be on automatic. But anyway, one must know what is the wrong or the problem, what we would call what the negative is. People don't change because things are great. People don't change because things are perfect. They change when shit gets bad. They start to want the change when things gets boring, when things gets old, when things get ugly, when things get uncomfortable, when things get lonely, when things get hard. But when things are good, easy, fun, happy, joyous, nobody wants to change. They don't see a reason to change. Why change? You're going to stay like this forever. But then the universe says it's time for a change. This has become either too superficial. This has become numbing. This has become stagnant. This has become unfulfilling. And whether you admit it or not, on some level, even the good can become repugnant. And I'm not saying that in an ungrateful way at all. But it's like, if there was never a bad movie and all you watched was movies that end happily ever after, you can't really appreciate the happily ever after to the fullness of it until you see a movie that didn't end happily ever after. And when you see that and it makes you cry or makes you sad or makes you think, how could they? Oh my God, that's awful. That's so terrible. Now this happily ever after, you can't get comfortable. You just cannot stay comfortable and happily ever after and think it's going to stay that way forever. Whether, even when things are good, you should be willing to change your self-expression. Because that's ultimately what it comes down to. You could say, oh no, I want to change my house. Oh no, I'm changing my car. Oh no, I'm changing my style. Oh no, I'm changing my hair. Oh no, I'm changing my man. Oh no, I'm changing my woman. Oh no, I'm changing my family status. Or I'm changing my work status. Changing my geographical location. That's all part of your own desire for expressing yourself. So, to transform a negative into a positive, one must know what is wrong, what the problem is. What is negative? What is negative? And what do you want? Another question. Do you know how many people do not know what they want at all? Like, imagine if you bring them to an ice cream shop and say, what do you want? I don't know. I like this, but I like that. I like that, but can I have it like that? And it'll take them forever to know. It's like, forget all the options that are up there. Close your eyes. And when I asked you, let's go have some ice cream. What's your ideal ice cream? What would you want to eat right now? If it just, it's like, can you be in your own head? Do you just know? Like, you don't gotta ask me twice what ice cream I'm gonna get when I go to the ice cream shop. I know my default. I know what I like. So from what I like, when I'm presented with options, it's not really gonna change what I like. And I may not opt for the new options. Why? Because the new options, I don't know if I'm going to like it. Why am I going to pay for something just because people are telling me this is a new popular flavor and you're going to love it because everybody loves it? I'm like, and then I end up not liking it. Now, I might get a sample taste and be like, oh, okay, it's all right. Do I really want to invest in that ice cream when I know for a fact that the ice cream I like, the way that I like it, is always so satisfying? I always enjoy that experience because it was this with that and the other, whatever it is, right? So most people cannot clearly define what they want. They cannot clearly define why they want it. So it's difficult to figure out what change needs to occur when you don't even know what you want. You don't even know what's wrong. So if you can determine what is wrong, you can determine what you actually want. The parameters are, here's where things are wrong, here's where things would be great. Everything in between is what we work through to figure out what needs to change. Is it just your perception? Because you could say, I can't change because this person doesn't let me change, and every time I do this, it's a problem. No. If that's who you are in that self-expression, the way that you want to express yourself, and then you stand on that, and either things are going to change within. Jesus, I gotta go, guys. All right, I'll come back with another message soon. Take care.